Welcome to Sue's Gluten-Free Baking at Home. I'm Sue Jennett, I'm celiac, and I eat a strict gluten-free diet, and I love to bake. So much so that I operated a gluten-free bakery for over 10 years. Now I'm anxious to share my tips, techniques, and recipes with you, so you too can bake gluten-free at home. Today we're going to make baguettes, one of my favorite breads. They come together pretty quickly and they're really versatile. You can use them for a lot of different things. So let's start by blooming the yeast. Blooming the yeast is just a term that we use when we take water and a bit of sugar to feed the yeast and we let it start growing. So we have our water here. We're going to put some of it, but not all of it. Now this is going to be lukewarm water. We're going to add some sugar, so that'll feed the yeast. And then we're going to add 1 tablespoon of yeast to this. Let's put this in the mixer so that we can just mix it up, and then we're going to let it sit for a few minutes while it blooms. That's just, there we go. So that's just going to bloom. The yeast is going to explode and get all foamy on top, and we know it's ready to work. So our flour mixture consists of white rice flour, tapioca starch, milk powder, and now we're going to add some guar gum. Guar gum will make it thicker and make it a little stickier, but make it hold together really well. We're also adding some salt. We're adding some gelatin, and gelatin won't have any flavor to it, but it's adding protein and it's making it stronger. We're adding baking powder. And we're just going to mix these up. While our yeast is blooming, we're also going to get our pans ready. Years ago, I invested in a baguette pan. So as you can see, this one's been well used. But it's really worthwhile. If you're going to make baguettes often, this is worthwhile. You can fashion something with foil, but because our dough doesn't have a lot of strength in it, this is the real way to get that shape that you're looking for. You can see them in the stores and they have all little holes in them like a mesh. Don't get those kind. I've tried that, and our dough is so thin that it will sink through those holes. So this is what you want to start with. Now we are going to use an oil spray, and then we're going to put on cornmeal. So what happens here is that just the depth of the cornmeal holds the dough off the bottom surface. So it browns really well, and it lets it slide off really well too. You'll notice sometimes when you do get breads from bakeries, they've got a cornmeal bottom and you're not sure why. This is why. So this is one of those bakery tips for you. So I can see that the yeast has started exploding and coming to the top and getting frothy. So now we're ready to start adding our dry ingredients. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our dry ingredients with the rest of our wet ingredients. We've got egg whites to add, and we also have some cider vinegar. The addition of egg whites makes the bread lighter and fluffier, and also gives it that strength from the protein in the egg whites. The addition of the vinegar is as a dough conditioner, and it makes the dough softer and smoother on the mouth. Once this is all incorporated, you can turn up the mixer so that it really beats well. The last thing we're going to put in is some oil. We put in 3 tablespoons of oil. I like using canola oil. You can use any oil that works for you. Let's turn the mixer up again. yeast doesn't take very long to incorporate. As you can see, this doesn't look like any regular bread dough. It's very soft and it's very sticky, and you certainly wouldn't want to be able to touch it and use it. But by using the baguette pan, we can shape our dough into what's going to look like real baguettes. Once you've done this a couple of times, you'll learn how to portion these out. I've made these baguettes hundreds of times, and I know how much to put in each one. If you'd like, you can also use molds and make hamburger buns with this dough. The dough comes together so quickly and so easily. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. I wouldn't tend to want to make tall breads, like a loaf of white sandwich bread with this dough. It is a little more delicate than the doughs that we used, the more robust doughs that we used to make full loaves of bread. So as you can see, I'm just portioning this out so that I get equal amounts on each side, and this recipe will make 2 nice healthy baguettes. So now that I've portioned it out, we're just going to smooth it out a little bit. This is now going to go in a warm place and rise. What I like to do in my kitchen is set my oven to preheat, which goes to about 170 degrees, and then turn the oven off so it ends up being about 100 degrees. Any more than that and you might kill the yeast. So right now, this is going to go off to rise. We'll come back when it's risen. So we're now ready to put the baguettes in the oven. As you can see, they've risen to about double their size and they're starting to crack a little bit on top. They're very anxious to get in their 400-degree oven. They'll bake for about 20 minutes and the house is going to smell amazing. Oh, look at that. Now, because we put the cornmeal on, they just slide right off the pan. They're baked really well on all sides. They smell wonderful. I'm just going to cut one open just to show you. So when I cut these, I normally cut them on an angle. That way it makes a bit of a bigger piece. You shouldn't really cut bread when it's this hot, but I can't resist. It just smells so wonderful. So we've got a lovely, spongy, soft inside. These can be frozen. What I normally do when I freeze them is cut them into like 3s and put them in Ziploc bags and freeze them. Now when you get gluten-free bread out of the freezer, don't let it just thaw on the countertop. It can dry out. Take it out of the freezer and put it right in the microwave. Put it in the microwave until it's warm. Not hot necessarily, but warm. And it'll be just like it came out of the oven. Just like these. Oh my goodness. I don't even think I can put butter on it. It'll just melt right into it. Just try it. That's a real baguette. You too can make these gluten-free baguettes at home.